Hello there, this is the World News at 12 on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Ijeoma Egwuatu and these are the top stories. Labour wants federal government over delayed MOU, threatens strike. INEC deletes APC candidate Silva's name from list for Bayelsa gubernatorial elections. SERAP obtains court leave to compel probe of missing $2.1 billion and 3.1 trillion naira oil revenue under Buhari government. And President Tinubu extends stay of record ambassadors and envoys by 3 months. On the foreign scene, Israeli airstrikes kill 8 Syrian troops. Details now. Thank you for staying with us. The World News at 12 begins with organized labor expressing dissatisfaction with the slow pace of implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding it signed with the federal government to avert its planned nationwide strike. The state chapters of the Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and the Trade Union Congress (TUC) said failure to implement the agreement before the October 30 deadline might leave them with no choice but to down tools, noting that they had commenced mobilization of their members across the country. The NLC Head of Information and Public Affairs, Benson Opa, urged the government to do better and faster. The national leadership of the NLC and the TUC had on October 1 reached an agreement with the federal government to pay 35,000 naira to all federal workers beginning from September, pending when a new national minimum wage would be signed into law. The resolution provided that the wage award would be paid to the federal workers for 6 months, while states were encouraged to extend the same benefit to their workers. Out of the 15 demands contained in the MOU, only a handful had been implemented by the government. Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has deleted the names of Temipre Silva and his running mate Joshua Masiva of the All Progressives Congress (APC) from the list of candidates for the forthcoming Bayelsa State gubernatorial elections. INEC had on Tuesday released the amended list of candidates for the Bayelsa and the Imo State governorship elections and uploaded the same on the Commission's website. The list was also signed by the Secretary to the Commission, Rose Oriara Anthony. The news agency of Nigeria reports that the column for the names of the APC candidate and his running mate was left blank with court order remarks. The Secretary in the amendment document explained that the Commission's action was in obedience to court orders on the list served on the Commission. She stated that the Commission published the final list of candidates for the 2023 Bayelsa State governorship election on June 9, following the provision of Section 32 of the Electoral Act 2022 and the timetable and schedule of activities for the election. However, she also noted that the Commission was served with a court order regarding the nomination of the APC candidate for Bayelsa State. She also noted that by virtue of the provision of Section 287 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, the Commission is bound to enforce the orders of the court on the nomination of candidates by political parties in the state. You will recall that the Federal High Court in Abuja on October 10 disqualified Silva from participating in the state governorship election. In another development, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) has revealed that it obtained the leave of the court to apply for an order of mandamus to compel the President Bola Tinubu-led government to probe the alleged missing and unaccounted $2.1 billion and 3.1 trillion naira oil revenue under former President Muhammadu Buhari. Earlier this year in June, SERAP filed a lawsuit asking President Tinubu to set up a presidential panel of inquiry to promptly probe the grim allegations that $2.1 billion and 3.1 trillion naira public funds of oil revenues and budgeted as fuel subsidy payments are missing and unaccounted for between 2016 and 2019, as documented by the Auditor General of the Federation. The organization had urged the president to name and shame anyone suspected to be responsible for the alleged widespread and systemic corruption in the use of oil revenues and the management of public funds budgeted as fuel subsidy, and to ensure their effective prosecution as well as the full recovery of any proceeds of crime. It also urged him to promptly, thoroughly, independently, transparently, and effectively probe all fuel subsidy paid by successive governments since the return of democracy in 1999, and to use any recovered proceeds of crime as palliatives to address the impact of any subsidy removal on poor Nigerians. However, in an update on its move on the matter, Serap said in a post on its X handle, formerly called Twitter, on Tuesday night that the group has obtained the leave of the court to apply for an order of mandamus to compel the Tinubu administration to probe the allegations of missing and unaccounted for oil revenues between 2016 and 2019. Well, now joining me to discuss these and other issues on the World News at 12 this afternoon, we have Mr. Peter Anosike, a political and social affairs analyst and also a business development executive. Good afternoon, Mr. Anosike.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for coming. It's always a pleasure to have you. Let's begin with the organized labor expressing their dissatisfaction with the slow pace at which the government is implementing what was signed in the Memorandum of Understanding. That's the MOU that they signed at the beginning of the month. The deadline is October 30. That's about 5 days away, and yet not many of these have been implemented. But some of them have been. The federal government has actually ordered the payment of 35,000 naira wage award, and also the provision is being made for about 55,000 CNG conversion kits to kickstart the auto gas conversion program. But right now, Labour is expressing dissatisfaction, saying we are not happy with the slow pace of work. We are not happy that you are not acting as if you are ready to do this before the deadline, saying when the deadline comes, we will down our tools and will not listen to anything you have to say. I'd like to know how you weigh into that issue.
Well, for me, you said that some of them have been implemented, but I have not really seen any of them. That the federal government has ordered to pay does not mean that it has been paid. Money will no day your hand, no be your own. Understand? So when Tinubu was declared the winner, I said that he's going to run Babangida kind of administration. Babangida was known as Maradona, a dribbler. And that is what we have been seeing since Tinubu came into office. So this NLCT, you see, there have been back and forth. We shut down the country, store food. Tomorrow, strike will be shelved. Understand? So they are dancing to the president tune. If they don't want to take action, this will continue to happen. So it is either they enforce that thing or they will not get what they are looking for. 30th should be on Monday, isn't it? Monday next week.
Mm-hmm.
So, and today is Friday. Today is Wednesday. I don't see how that order could be met before Monday. You see what is going to happen. Ministry of Labour and Productivity is going to call them for a meeting, for a negotiation, and the promises will be made. Then everything will start all over again. So for me, they should be decisive in what they are asking government to do. They should be decisive. They should hold government to fulfill their promise. Since it was signed on October 1st and the president gave that order, there should be implementation. I know that last week, Joe Ajero said that any other strike that they do not even give a notice at all. So they should force them to implement the order, because by now, if that 35,000 naira is to be paid, they are supposed to have started getting their this thing, the papers
payments by now
to the effect. So I don't see it coming. So for me, they should be decisive. They are running at the speed of the federal government, which is wrong. If you are negotiating, you have to force them to run at your own speed. But now they are allowing the federal government to be leading them by the nose. With this ultimatum now, you can see tomorrow, federal government will call them for a meeting, for a negotiation. And what they want to do on the 30th will be shifted maybe to 10th. And this is making even the masses to lose interest in them.
In Labour or the federal
Sure
government?
now, both Labour and you cannot every time be ranting, and nothing is being done. So if they are not decisive, anytime they call for protest, people will not want to join them because they are not giving them confidence that they are serious in what they are asking for.
So as it is right now, you feel that people are losing confidence in Labour to be at the forefront of what the masses want.
They are not being decisive. Federal government is leading them by the nose. Every time they will tell Nigerians, stock food, we are going on strike. The next day, strike is called off. Understand? So they are not giving Nigerians hope that they are serious at all. So for me, they should be very, very decisive. They should hold this government seriously. Otherwise, they will not get what they are looking for.
So when you say they should be very, very decisive, what can they do different that has not been done already? Because they signed an MOU, 15 points. It was lodged with the court. They said there will be joint visitation of the federal government and Labour to the refineries to see how they can work. They worked towards the 35,000 naira wage award for the next 6 months. What is it that they are not doing?
Well, when every negotiations, when every MOU fails, the next option is strike. And this is the only language that the Nigeria government understands: action. According to international labor law, once negotiation fails, once there's no more agreement, strike is the next alternative. And if you don't go on strike, you will not get what you want. Because this is what this country understands, that they have shut down the economy. So that's what I mean by they must be decisive.
All right, then let's move forward. Well, there is a breaking news story that the Supreme Court is scheduled to deliver judgment on Thursday, October 26th, that is tomorrow, in the cases of the Labour Party and its presidential candidate, Peter Obi, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and its candidate, Atiku Abubakar, as well as the All Progressives Congress, APC, and its candidate, present President Bola Tinubu. The PDP presidential candidate and his LP counterpart have lodged appeals challenging the September 6 ruling of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal that upheld President Tinubu's electoral victory. But now the judgment date was confirmed by all parties involved today. As its last sitting on Monday, we know that the Apex Court reserved judgment filed by Atiku and PDP against the verdict of the Pepsi, which affirmed President Tinubu's victory. A 7-member panel of the court led by Justice Inyang Okoro announced this on Monday after counsels to parties adopted their briefs of argument and made final submissions. After reserving judgment in the Atiku and PDP case, it went ahead to adjourn to a date that will be communicated. The date has not been communicated and it is tomorrow. Should we expect justice or judgment?
Forget about justice. There's not going to be justice. What we are going to see tomorrow is technicalities, affirmation of what was said in the appeal court. Understand? So they are going to confirm what the appeal court said, which is unfortunate. And why they hurriedly put it tomorrow is because from the 30th, FBI will begin to release those documents on Tinubu. FBI will start releasing the documents on Tinubu from 30th Monday. So that's the reason why they hurriedly put it on Thursday, so that they would release this judgment before those the reports begin to come. Understand? I'm sure they have not had time to study all the documents that both PDP and LP presented. There's no way that they will have done it between 23rd and 24th. It's not possible. So what they are going to do tomorrow is to read another opinion as they read on 26th of September. Because what they passed on 26th of September wasn't a judgment. It was an opinion of some people. So what they are going to pass tomorrow again is still going to be an opinion. They are not going to give judgment based on the Constitution.
This is the Supreme Court we're talking about, the apex court, the highest court in the land.
I'm talking about.
So when you say they are not going to give judgment based on the Constitution, isn't that what it should be? You recall that we spoke about this, I think that same Monday, when the head of the panel of the court, that's Justice Ijeoma Egwuatu, yes, the head of this 7-member panel, now said that, there were 2 conflicting letters. And you said, why focus on the letter when there is a deposition before you?
Yes.
And now, is this the reason why you say, look, we should not be expecting anything different from what the Pepsi said?
They are going to base their judgment on technicalities. They are going to confirm what the appeal court said. The Supreme Court justices are behaving as if they are part of Tinubu's legal team. Understand? So they are not going to study the fresh evidence that Atiku brought. They are not going to study all the documents that P2B submitted. They are just going to confirm what the appeal court said. And it's going to be a very sad development in the country, because the world is going to lose confidence in Nigeria. Investors this is going to affect investors coming to this country, because you cannot go and put your money in a country where the justice system, the court system does not work. Understand? It means if there's a breach in your business, if you go to court, you cannot get justice. Understand me? So tomorrow, the Supreme Court is going to let Nigerians know that forgery is allowed, that forgery is not a criminal offense. Understand? So anybody who is hoping for any other thing apart from confirmation of what the appeal court said is merely deceiving himself.
All right. While the councils to INEC, the APC, PDP were making their submissions, the APC council told the Supreme Court not to accept the evidence that Atiku has brought. And INEC said the same thing. But many critics, many Nigerians have been talking about, why does it look as if INEC is also acting as if they are in defense of the APC or in defense of the APC presidential candidate, who is our present president right now? So INEC told Supreme Court not to accept the evidence that Tinubu forged the certificate. That should INEC have done that. And I tried to say, look, INEC was acting in their own defense, but should they really have said that? If they're acting in their own defense because they are defendants in this suit, should they also have said, look, don't accept this evidence? Shouldn't that have been left for the APC lawyers? I
say this court is we and them. Understand me? We and them. Both Supreme Court, Appeal Court, APC, INEC are on the same side, fighting the masses. Understand? This is a fight between light and darkness. So, to Supreme Court, Appeal Court, Tinubu and his party are the darkness fighting. Understand me? So INEC is doing what they are supposed to, what they have been paid to do, because they are the problem that we are having in this country. If they had done their due diligence, they wouldn't have accepted that the certificate. Because if you are an institution and somebody submitted a certificate to you, you should verify the authenticity. I'm sure in the university, when first years come with their certificate, maybe WAEC and so on and so forth, in second year, the schools go and do verification to find out the authenticity of those certificates. So INEC is the problem that we are having in the country now. But the judiciary is aligning with them. Understand? Because judgment in Nigeria is based on 2 areas. One, the highest bidder, and how did I come here? How did I get this job I'm doing now? Understand? So that's why they are going to give. That's what they are going to confirm what the appeal court said. But as I said, what was passed on the 26th of September was not judgment, because it was not based on the Nigerian Constitution. It was opinion of some people. And that's what we are also going to see tomorrow. Understand? That is what we are also going to see tomorrow. But the after effect will still come, because the evil that the appeal court and Supreme Court are going to do tomorrow is going to catch up with them someday.
Isn't this can we call it postulating what the court will say? Isn't this like a predicting? Is this just what you expect, or this is what you just feel it?
That's what they are going to do from their body language, from the question that they asked on 23rd. Imagine a justice of the Federation, a chief judge of the highest court asking, what do you want us to use? Is it the Electoral Act or the Constitution? Understand me? What do you want us to use in deciding this matter? Is it the Electoral Act or the Constitution? So this is a very stupid question. Even a first-year law student cannot ask that question, because judgments are passed based on the country's constitution. Constitution is the highest law in the land. It's superior to any other thing. But for a Supreme Court judge to be asking, what do you want us to use to pass this judgment? Is it the Constitution, or shows you where he is going? Understand? So, for me, you shouldn't expect anything different from what we had on September 26th.
All right, then. Just yesterday, a U.S. court in the District of Columbia stopped Aaron Greenspan from forcing the hand of the FBI, the IRS, the DEA, and the CIA from releasing these documents that they already said they were going to release on President Tinubu. And he also made these allegations. He also said the same thing you are saying now, that the court does not want to release these documents for it to be used by the Supreme Court, and it needs those documents to be released before the Supreme Court will give its judgment. Right now, if the Supreme Court gives its judgment tomorrow in favor of the president, whether or not it gives it in favor of the president, when those documents are released, what then is it going to be?
Well, for me, that information, that what you said now, was false. Understand? Nation newspaper, which is owned by Tinubu, published that, and it is half truth that they gave to Nigerians. Understand me? Nation newspaper, which is owned by Tinubu, published that. Understand? The true information is that those FBI documents will be coming out on the 30th of October. Understand? What they said, that we cannot guarantee immediate release. That is what the court said, that we cannot guarantee immediate release because they want it earlier than 30th. But the Supreme Court just ambushed them and decided that they are going to give this judgment tomorrow. They don't want to wait till those documents start coming out. So this will also show you the mindset of the so-called Supreme Court judges. So they know that the documents will start coming out on Monday. That was why they hurriedly decided that they will give judgment on Thursday.
How will this impact on the case?
So tomorrow is going to be a very dark day in Nigeria. Tomorrow is going to be a very dark day in Nigeria. It's going to be a very bad omen in the history of Nigeria. One, even if those documents come out today, it is not going to have any impact on the judgment because it is not what Atiku asked for. Atiku asked for the CSU certificate. He did not ask for FBI results. And the court is not a Father Christmas that does not give what is not asked for. But the importance of that document is for us to know who our president is, how he lived in the United States. Understand? So it's not that it's going to affect the judgment either positively or negatively. Understand me? It is not going to, even if they release those documents today, it will not in any way impact on the judgment tomorrow. The judgment has already been written, just as the result was written before the election.
All right, then let's move forward from this conversation. Let's talk about the off-season elections in Bayelsa, Kogi, and Imo states. But right now, we're talking about Bayelsa State, where INEC has deleted Timi Silva's name from its candidate list and has, in the column, he just wrote their court order. We know that there was a court order stopping Timi Silva from contesting the elections, and that was on October 10. A federal high court in Abuja disqualified him from participating, ruling that he has been sworn in twice, and he ruled for 5 years as Bayelsa State governor, and that if he is to contest again, it will breach the 1999 Constitution as amended. The judge also declared that Silva is not qualified to run in next month's poll because if he wins and if he's sworn in, he would spend more than 8 years in office as state governor. I'd like you to quickly speak on that.
The Constitution says that nobody will be sworn in 2 times, more than 2 times. So for somebody, and a term is 4 years. So for somebody to rule for 5 years means he has been sworn in for 2 times. He completed his first 4 years and now went for another one and was removed after 1 year, making it 5 years. Some people were saying that Jonathan was sworn in more than 2 times. It's not true. So those who are comparing Temi Silva with Jonathan, is not true. Jonathan did not run for election 2 times. The first swearing in was he took over from the president, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. Understand? He was the vice presidential candidate to Umaru Musa Yar'Adua. Then Umaru Musa Yar'Adua died after 2 years. So Jonathan was sworn in. He did not contest election. So the only election that he ran for was 2011. The only election that Jonathan ran for was 2011, which he won. And he was officially sworn in as the president. And if he has won in 2015, it will mean that he will have ruled for 10 years. But officially, he ran 2 times. So this Silva has run for two times as a candidate. Understand? In 2007, Jonathan was not a candidate. Yar'Adua was the candidate. It was only in 2011 and in 2015 that Jonathan was candidate. So those who are comparing Silva with Jonathan is not the same case.
At all. All right, then we would need to proceed with the World News at 12. Thank you so much, Mr. Anoske, for joining me on the World News at 12 this afternoon. I really appreciate your presence, your input, and your analysis.
Thank you so much.
Elsewhere, President Bola Tinubu has reportedly extended the stay of envoys and career and non-career ambassadors by 3 months. You will recall that on September 2, President Bola Tinubu recalled all Nigerian ambassadors and asked them to return to the country on or before October 31st. However, VOP News gathered that the envoys were stranded as the federal government was foot-dragging on implementation and had not released authority to incur expenditures, AREs, for the passages to them. On the foreign scene, Syrian state media reports that Israeli strikes killed 8 soldiers in southern Syria early today, in what the Israeli army said was a response to earlier rocket fire. Persistent rocket and artillery exchanges with Lebanese militant group Hezbollah and allied Palestinian factions across Israel's northern borders with Lebanon and Syria have raised fears of a new front in Israel's war with Hamas in Gaza. Syrian state media said the strikes also wounded 7 soldiers and caused material damage. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said 11 soldiers were killed, including 4 officers. The Britain-based War Monitor said the strikes destroyed arms depots and a Syrian air defense radar and also targeted an infantry unit. The Israeli army said its fighter jets struck military infrastructure and mortars belonging to the Syrian army in response to the launches towards Israel yesterday. Israel had besieged the Gaza Strip since militants from Palestinian Islamist movement Hamas stormed into Israel on October 7 and went on a rampage that Israeli officials say killed more than 1,400 people. Israel rarely comments on individual strikes it carries out on Syria, but it has repeatedly said it would not allow its act for Iran, which supports President Bashar al-Assad's government, to expand its presence. And that's it on the World News at 12. Just before we wrap up, let's take a look at the top stories again. You heard that Labour has won the federal government over a delayed MOU and has threatened to strike. INEC deletes APC candidate Silva's name from list for Bayelsa gubernatorial elections. Serap obtains court leave to compel probe of missing $2.1 billion and 3.1 trillion naira oil revenue under Buhari's government. And President Tinubu extends stay of record ambassadors and envoys by 3 months. On the foreign scene, Israeli airstrikes kill 8 Syrian troops. And that is a wrap on the World News at 12. My name is Ijeoma Innocent. Please follow our social media handles at VOP903FM. For coverage of your live events and brand news mentioned on the news bulletins, do send a mail to news@voiceofthepeople.ng. Good afternoon and thank you for listening. Please stay tuned. Up next is Matters.